Vienna. And I'm looking at 20, Roman numeral, those little Roman numeral things, XX, I, kind of thing? Okay. XX, if I can find it, I'll be there, okay? All right. XX, I. The very first thing you see on that page is something that should strike you in the very first paragraph. Cardinal Schönborn is quoting John Paul II, saying this: as a young priest, I learned to love human love. If one loves human love, there naturally arises the need to commit oneself completely to the service of fair love, because love is fair, it is beautiful. Okay. He was under the Nazi regime and the communist regime, back to back. As a matter of fact, it's the Poles who said that in World War II, they lost the war twice. All right? First the Nazis, then the communists come in. So it's lose-lose for them. Okay. If one were sitting there and saying, where is the love of God here? He'd sit there and say, whoa, I'm not seeing much coming down from wherever, right? But if you looked at human beings at that time and saw how they sacrificed for one another, you would say, oh my goodness, that's real love. And if that's real love in a human being, can you imagine where that came from? So that's where he's coming from here. He's looking at human love and he's saying, this is awesome. Absolutely awesome. So let's go with that. Now, down in the bottom of that, I asked you a question about, in Love and Responsibility, he talks about the difference between the biological order and the order of nature. Now that's very, very important for later on, and it's something that you should probably get your mind around to some degree. When he talks about the biological order versus the order of nature, what is the biological order? Anybody? Yes.
It's the physical order of nature. That's how I saw the difference, as opposed to the, I guess you could call it the teleological significance of it, or the plan of God, or the understanding the whole truth that's embedded in it.
Keep going. Now, I'm gonna throw something in here and then you keep going, Jerry. Okay? Okay. That is, okay, biological.
Life.
Who came up with
The study
biological?
of life.
Oh, biology is man's understanding of nature, and the other one is God's understanding
There you
of
go.
nature.
When we talk about the order of nature, we're talking about the order of the reality that's out there. We don't change that. We simply look at it and say, what is that? And we try to learn about it. And that's a Thomistic way of looking at reality. That's realism, okay? We've got our mind, we look out there and we see, that's a muskrat, that's a kangaroo, that's a giraffe, and there's Harry, okay? And he is a human being, and absolutely a male human being, not just a human being, but a male human being. So that's the order of nature. Biology is the kind of thing where we as human beings then look at nature and then we figure out how we're going to do the phyla of the animals. We get all kinds of lists going and we study it and we give names to things, and then we drive pre-med students crazy when they're sophomores in college with biology. And then next year we do it with chemistry. Okay? Yes.
How do you reconcile that with what they say here, which made me a little crazy? And I did go to college, by the way. It says in there, as far as comparing the two, but only insofar as this is accessible to the methods of empirical and descriptive natural science, and not as a specific order of existence. And it goes on, and I just put complex, 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 because
Yes.
I couldn't reconcile the statement to what you just said.
Well, it's talking about biological order, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a perfect description of the biological order. accessible to the methods of empirical and descriptive natural science, meaning just natural, just, you know, your everyday, not the order of nature. That's not what he means by natural science. It's simply a science course that you would take in high school or in college. And,
It's limited by the way we can perceive and
Yes.
describe it.
yes, Dan. So we come up with the stuff and we look at it and then we, by the way, Einstein's relativity theory now is on the chopping block, and so that's very interesting. I'm right now I'm reading a book on the cosmos by Green. I forget, Dennis Green, I'm not sure, but it's really highfalutin. Pardon?
He's a football.
No, is he a football coach? He didn't write this down. No, okay, thanks. Okay, but anyway, that's the deal, Harry. In other words, that description is describing the biological order. Now, supposing you have the biological order and you have the order of nature, and along comes a question, a moral question, and you as a human being are a biologist or you're into the biological order, would there be a temptation to sit there and look at the biological order and say, aha, I think I can find the answer to this in the biological order? All right, I don't have to worry about the order of nature. I now have control, in a sense, in my laboratory about what's going to go on here. Okay? So, indeed, when contraception came on the scene, that's precisely what happened. The Pill Commission, of the large majority of it, went towards the biological order and forsook the order of nature. Okay.
Would you say just
Yes.
a word more about the contrast, the order of nature? You said more about the biological order. Could you?
The order of nature is like, okay.
Isn't biological more tangible, where the nature is more abstract as you get deeper into certain relationships?
Could be. That might be a way to describe it.
Attaching the different kingdoms or the phylas, as you spoke earlier, that's one way to be able to grasp the biological.
Yes. But there's another part about the biological order, and that is the assumption that you get to control it because you're the one who came up with all the terms and the criteria and the lab sciences and everything else that have to do with that. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, the order of nature is that when I look at you as a human being and as a woman who's a human being, or a human being who is a woman, the order of nature is going to give me pause, and I'm going to sit there and say, Anne, okay, there's something that you and I share. What is that? See, I'm going to ask that question. That's a philosophical question. I'm going to ask the question. What do we share? And you might come up with something like, well, we share humanity. All right? We're both human beings, right? We could possibly come up with that, couldn't we? Okay, the next question philosophically is, well, what exactly does that mean to be a human being?